Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This government is driving the most ambitious programme of local government reform in a generation, replacing the inefficient two-tier system with new unitary councils so that all parts of our country are ready for devolution. We need to devolve power out of Whitehall so that we can rebalance wealth, power and opportunity right across this country. This is the second richest country in Europe, and yet England has 7 of the 10 poorest regions in Northern Europe. That is the case for change. Devolution requires strong local councils delivering good public services, supporting economic growth and closely connected to the communities they serve. Two-tier structures are confusing for residents, divide responsibilities, slow down decisions, duplicate costs and blur accountability. In many areas, existing boundaries no longer match patterns of local economies, public services or local identities. We can't continue with an outdated and misaligned system that does not serve local people well. We can do better. That is why today I'm announcing further decisions on local government reorganisation in remaining areas of the programme. Subject to parliamentary approval, I have decided to implement proposals for new councils in the following areas, and in some of these areas, modification powers will be used to make the boundary changes requested alongside proposals. For ease, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'll refer to these proposals in a shortened form, but the specifics are in the accompanying written statement. In Derbyshire and Derby, the 2 unitary option put forward by Chesterfield, Derby, Erewash and High Peak, including boundary changes. In Devon, Plymouth and Torbay, the 4 unitary proposal put forward by Exeter and Plymouth, including boundary changes. In East Sussex and Brighton and Hove, the 2 unitary proposal, including boundary changes requested by Brighton and Hove City Council, except for the parish of Falmer. The 1 unitary proposal in Gloucestershire. The 4 unitary proposal in Hertfordshire, including boundary changes, except for the ward of Arbury. In Kent and Medway, the 4 unitary proposal put forward by Dover, Swale and Thanet. In Lancashire, Blackpool and Blackburn with Darwen, the 4 unitary proposal put forward by Chorley, Lancaster, Preston, Ribble Valley, South Ribble and West Lancashire. In Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland, a 2 unitary option put forward by Leicester City Council, including boundary changes. In Lincolnshire, North Lincolnshire and North East Lincolnshire, the 4 unitary proposal put forward by Lincoln City Council, including boundary changes, leaving North Lincolnshire and North East Lincolnshire unchanged. In Nottinghamshire and Nottingham, a 2 unitary option put forward by Nottingham City Council, including boundary changes. The 3 unitary proposal in Oxfordshire, including boundary changes. In Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, the 2 unitary proposal put forward by East Staffordshire, Stafford and Cannock Chase, but also by Stoke-on-Trent. The 2 unitary proposal in Warwickshire. The 2 unitary proposal in Worcestershire. In both Cambridgeshire and Peterborough and West Sussex, I am not announcing decisions today because further time is required to get the decisions right. Madam Deputy Speaker, everyone involved wants to see stronger local councils delivering better local services which will improve the lives of the people we serve. The decisions announced today will do that and improve local government for over 15 million people. We will see 38 councils operating across these areas in place of the current 134. This will result in over 250 fewer senior posts and significant salary savings and nearly 3,000 fewer councillors. This could save up to £20 million a year on councillor allowances alone across these areas. Councils themselves projected that these decisions could lead to net savings of around £1 billion by the end of 2032-33, when the anticipated benefits are fully realised. Savings that will be reinvested into frontline services local people care about the most. Across England, once all decisions are taken, we will have cut the number of councils from 317 to a maximum of 173. This will simplify and strengthen local government, serving over 20 million people. And reorganisation will also support city growth. For example, Plymouth is a nationally significant defence growth location and a house building priority driven by investment at Devonport. Leicester is a major urban economy facing cross-boundary housing, employment and infrastructure pressures, including unmet housing need. Our decisions today will help those two cities grow, along with others, including Preston, Derby, Nottingham, Exeter, Oxford, Brighton and Hove and Lincoln. These bigger cities will be crucial in making sure that our country can build the homes we need. I am tremendously grateful for all the hard work councils put into their proposals, but I also appreciate that some members of this House and some councils will disagree with my decisions. I am sure that we can all agree that the hard work of transition to new councils must continue to be a shared endeavour across local and central government. It's something we all need to get right to protect the services some of the most vulnerable people in our communities rely on. A broad support offer is in place for councils, including support to councils through our sector advisors and through funding to the Local Government Association. We've already announced £63 million in capacity funding to support the reorganisation process. I'm pleased to provide further detail today on how this funding will be allocated. Each area will receive an unprecedented £900,000 per new unitary council in capacity funding. On top of this, we are committing up to £150,000 in supplementary funding as part of a wider package of support for children's services, adult social care and public health leadership. Taken together, this means there will be over £1 million for each new unitary council in capacity funding for every reorganisation area. This is the first time reorganisation has been supported in this way, and it shows this government's commitment to supporting councils to make sure we get these reforms right. Madam Deputy Speaker, the programme will now move forward in line with the timetable already set out, with elections to the new unitary councils scheduled for May 2027, ahead of new councils taking up their powers in April 2028. Today marks a significant milestone for the future of local government, with decisions now taken on 19 out of 21 tutor areas across England. Reorganising local government is not a debate about where to draw lines on a map or about structures and systems. It is about making real improvements to people's lives and to the communities that they are part of. This reform programme, Madam Deputy Speaker, is ambitious, but it is the right thing to do, and I commend this statement to the House.
Shadow Secretary of State, Sir James Cleverly.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Secretary of State for advanced sight of his statement. This is blatant. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is blatant. These changes, like so many of his decisions, have been driven by party politics. The Secretary of State tried to cancel local elections. He was caught trying to tip the balance in Labour's favour, and nothing in today's statement has done anything to dispel the belief that this is purely partisan. Many communities have been left in limbo, while Labour councils have been allowed to redraw the map on which future elections that they will be engaged in will be fought. Can the Secretary of State honestly say that that's going to inspire confidence in the integrity of this process? And if he wanted accusations of gerrymandering to be put aside, why on earth did he create such a clearly gerrymandered set of boundaries? Madam Deputy Speaker, the maps speak for themselves. In Devon, he's accepted the proposals put forward by Labour-run Exeter in Plymouth. In Leicester, he has accepted the submissions by Labour-controlled council. In Nottingham, he's accepted the proposal put forward by the Labour-run City Council. I could go on and on and on, but time does not permit. How on earth can the Secretary of State expect anyone to believe that this process has been politically impartial? Devolution should be about transferring powers away from Whitehall. It's about giving freedom to succeed to local areas and for them to keep the reward of that success, creating the conditions for more investment, more jobs, more opportunity. But none of that is dependent upon imposing a single organisational model from Whitehall. Unitaries should never be the admission price for a devolution deal, nor should local areas be compelled into so-called strategic authorities simply because he and Whitehall prefer organisational uniformity. Devolution should mean trusting local people to make local decisions. The Secretary of State says he is holding councils to the standards of best value, of transparency, consultation, good governance, sound decision-making. Yet by the very same standards, he fails his own test. Minimal consultation, partisan judgments, arbitrary decision-making. The Secretary of State speaks about stronger councils. Yet some of these new authorities will be burdened with crippling debt from the day they are created. Take Nottinghamshire, Madam Deputy Speaker. Rushcliffe Council, Conservative-run council, well-run, financially secure. Yet under his plans, it will be carved up with most of its assets transferred to a debt-ridden Labour Nottingham City Council. How on earth can weakening well-managed councils to prop up bankrupt ones create a stronger foundation for local government? And what of local democracy? He says with great pride how many local representatives are going to be culled in these proposals. Decisions taken further away from the communities that they affect. Planning powers becoming increasingly removed from the very people who have to live with the implications of those decisions. And he complains about two-tier local government. But his own mayoral proposals create two tiers of local government. So please, can he inform the House? Is two-tier local government good, or is two-tier local government bad? He doesn't seem to know. And also, what assessment has the Secretary of State made of the democratic deficit? And given the pace with which he's driving these changes and the fact that a number of the proposals have still not been outlined today and won't be until the autumn, what on earth gives him the confidence that they will be implemented in time for shadow elections in May of next year? And what assessment has he made of the likelihood of judicial reviews further delaying this timetable before 2029? Madam Deputy Speaker, this statement raises more questions than it answers. If this proves to be the Secretary of State's final appearance at the dispatch box in this role, we don't agree, but I've enjoyed working with him across the dispatch box. But I hope he recognises the mess that he is leaving behind. He cannot believe that he has squandered this opportunity for genuine devolution. Instead, his legacy will be one of taking power away from local communities, imposing an unfair funding review on councils and gerrymandering local government boundaries. And I find it difficult to believe that is a record he will genuinely be proud of.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I first of all say that I've enjoyed working